Greetings, welcome, and salutations, listeners of XEP. Welcome to the community episode for December 2024 and 2024 overall, where we look back at our favorite games of the year with the XEP community. Today, I am joined by one Captain Logan, who is away on vacation. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm ecstatic to have you here, ecstatic to have our community here. It's good to see so many people back and hanging out with us. And it's been a really good year in gaming, so I'm excited to talk shop with everybody. So it's going to be a good time. So, how is the vacation? Is it going well?
I mean, it's going amazing. I've been sitting around just like playing video games pretty much the last week and a half. So it's mostly been like Sea of Thieves and Call of Duty and stuff. Yeah. So it's like watched like all of the John Wicks for the first time. So I mean, that's
so good.
How can you hate on that? So, but yeah, no, had a good Christmas, got a bunch of stuff. So looking forward to, I'll be back here probably in May for a concert as a result. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome. So looking forward to coming back for that. But yeah, I've been sleeping without an alarm clock for a little over a week, and it's wild what it feels like to have to come back and have to use alarm clocks for work and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you're living that life, and now you've tasted it. So it's like, oh no,
it's like, why can't I just be rich? Why can't I just play video games and not worry about alarms all day, every day?
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Right with you.
I'd be rich and offer free therapy services. So
that allows me to introduce Nissa Hauer. How are you?
Good. Rushed home from work.
You did. You did, but we're glad you got there safely. That's for sure. That is for sure. You got home and you're intact. How's that?
Yes.
There you go. That'll work for us. Above Nissa is Anubis. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you all today?
Good. Good. It's good to see you. You're my Marvel Rivals buddy.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here. It looks like Hometown Hero is frozen. Yeah, he's frozen right now. I love it. In the center bottom column, that would be one Red Beast. What's up, man?
Not much. I'm glad I could actually make it this time. I've always wanted to make these chats, but due to activities in life and everything, it's been hard to make it, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, no, it is good to see you. You've been on one or two of them with us though, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. So I've been meaning to get onto the last couple, but it's good to be here. Captain Logan, what concert are you back for?
Oh my gosh, Sonic Temple. It's going to be basically like Metallica's headlining for a couple times. A bunch of other Ice Nine Kills. I'm Korn. A bunch of other metal bands. It's a lot of really good bands for like rock and stuff that are going to be there. So we're going the last day, which is going to have a bunch of my favorite bands that are going to be there. So that was a nice Christmas gift. So looking forward to that in May.
No, that's great. I enjoy all the bands people throw into our Discord in the music channel, just like the wide variety. Yeah. I've been turned on to more of the gaming soundtracks this year, just kind of having them in the background while I'm working. So I like what everyone throws in there. So appreciate that.
Yeah, they're really good.
I was muted there. I didn't want anyone to hear my keyboard going. What's up, Hometown Hero? Your volume? Are you here? You're with us, my friend?
I think I'm here now. It just hiccuped a little bit when you started it. So that was a great start to being back on the camera and the mic with you for like the second time ever.
Second time ever, but you used to be quite the streamer over on Twitch. Is the itch getting louder? Are you gonna be streaming more often?
I mean, being jobless, I get bored. So yeah. I'm never gonna say never to that. Especially now that I took all the time to update my streaming computer and make sure that all this stuff works. Part of that was to be able to do some interviews hopefully soon. So yeah, I'm never going to say never to that, but my channel is there and monetized still.
There you go. Fair enough. I will say to anybody that's unfamiliar with Hometown Hero, his name's Kev, but it's Kevin, the VP of first person shooter relations, but also the VP of Sony, Mr. Kevin Butler. That's who you guys hear in the Patreon shout outs every month. Same person.
That's it.
Same
Mhm.
one that we on the GameStop trip as well, right, Kev?
Yes.
I say that because Anubis is the long grizzled veteran still in the fight.
Still there. Yeah, I'm glad to not be there anymore. I've been out since 2012.
It's been a while. Yeah. Anubis, how did the holiday season go in GameStop?
Pretty good. This morning my manager messaged me saying he got, his life threatened because someone had an issue with a $36 online order. I only had one super angry lady yesterday complain that she couldn't return trading cards because trading cards are non-refundable. But honestly, that's the only bad customers I've had. So cool. That's a win for me. In retail, that's a win.
I'd say that is a big win, actually. Nice. Good work there. Well, guys, we are here to talk about our games of the year for 2024, whatever that means to you. I've gone back and forth myself over the last probably 10 years and just talking about games and what game of the year actually is, what it means, etc. So really, I thought the best way to do this was to just talk about games that you enjoyed this year, games that you loved, and spotlight those. And we're going to celebrate them regardless, because I no longer know what a game of the year is. I don't care if it's a DLC, if it's a real game, whatever it is. There's too many great games out there, too much to celebrate to worry about picking the winner. So I figured we just talk about what we've enjoyed this year.
What about a demo?
A demo works too. If it
Okay.
can show up at the Keeleys, why not? Right?
Well,
Demos, DLCs, pictures, whatever.
You guys are probably, because y'all in the XBP Discord know what I'm going to say. Winterborough! I played the demo. It's really cute. It's really fun, even though it's very short. I wish there was more. But
I thought you were gonna say Dreamlight Valley. That's what I thought you were gonna say.
well, Dreamlight Valley is really cool, but I'm already playing it. I'm anticipating games, but I played Winterborough. But Dreamlight Valley is really cool. Just there's no more content for it anymore because I finished the Star Path. I leveled up. Oh, who was the last person? Sally. So there's really nothing to do every day except dream snaps.
Gotcha.
I sold a Dreamlight today, by the way.
What?
Did you?
Yeah, I had a lady call, and she was like, "Hey, I was at this other store, and they said you guys might have Dreamlight Valley." And she was like, "Oh, do you have it?" She got it for the PlayStation. She was like, "Oh, I was wondering if you had it for the Switch." I was like, "I don't have it for the Switch." She's like, "I just don't know which one I want to get it on." And I was like, "All right, hold on, I got you." And I was like, "I play it on Xbox, but I know all the community kind of belly aches on the Switch because it's just too much for the Switch to handle. So get the PS5." And she was really grateful. And it's always. I mean, that's the best part of the job is when someone is just casually mentions a game and has no idea how heavy I'm into this game, and then I just start explaining everything, and then I can help them out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I sold the Dreamlight today.
The only issue with the PlayStation is cross progression. So if you start on the PlayStation, you have to stay on the PlayStation until they fix that part. It was only more recently, back in I think June, that they were able to do cross play and everything, and the game's been out 2 years.
Yeah, it was early summer or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I see.
No, I'm here. No, I'm totally paying attention.
Yeah, I'm looking at everyone else's face, and I'm just like, oops.
That's Dreamlight.
No, I'm trying to remember where I played Dreamlight Valley because I can't remember if I think I played it. I can't remember if it was on Xbox PC or if it was on. I think it was Xbox PC. I played a fair amount of that, and that's at the beginning, and really loved it. It's a really beautiful tribute to. It's kind of reminds me of what we were getting with the Toys to Life with Disney Infinity, where instead of it you having to go and buy the little figures, you effectively get the little homes for each of the different characters that you can then kind of set up and build for yourself. And then they have like little cosmetics and stuff that you can dress up like them and kind of go out on little adventures and stuff. And it's like, but it's all just, it's like Animal Crossing, but with Disney IP. And that's just like, it just, you know, if you're a big fan of Disney, it's like right up your alley for those kind of cozy games. So it's like, I'm pretty sure I was trying to find my history on my phone through the Xbox app. But I'm pretty sure I was playing that through Xbox PC. And that was like, cause my friend and I, Kylia, I bought her for her birthday, like when it first launched, the full like season pass digital edition and stuff. And we were grinding through like fish and minerals and stuff for a while, trying to just kind of like build up our own little towns and stuff and compare and contrast.
Well, they now have floating islands where you can add more stuff because the game keeps adding more stuff to it. And you're just like, I want to put all my houses out because you get houses and now you can put them out and just decorate inside them as well.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the grid to show up. Still waiting for that Tron DLC pack. When that comes out,
maybe when the movie comes out.
One of the persons on this guy I follow on YouTube, Suro, one of the island places he visit, the guy had a Touch of Magic Tron jacket.
Oh, nice.
Thing. So if you visit that person, you get access to their Daisy or their especially if you have Daisy and the Daisy Star, you get access to their Touch of Magic stuff.
So Touch of Magic is user generated and created. Like think of it, I'm gonna say Microsoft Paint on clothing, or it could also be on furniture. But so that's what she's saying is you could go to their village and basically grab the clothing that you've designed.
Oh, neat.
It sounds like a game that could take a lot of time, be a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah. It's one of those games. Grind. I just like it because like I can play it on my ROG Ally, my Xbox, my laptop, and I can put it down. I love games where I can have action and everything. I loved Flintlock, but it was just like with my job, with everything, I have to, like, I don't always have a lot of time to put into games sometimes. And it's just like, sometimes on Sundays, I just look at the ceiling and go, my brain's not there.
Those comfort games are important though. Like I've been doing that with Starfield, like that, just turn my brain off sometimes and just go on autopilot. And sometimes that's just comforting.
It's interesting that Starfield was your game like that. So to me, when I think about a game like that, where it's a quick hit, you get in there, you do your thing, you know, you just need to pass a few minutes or something. You know, I think mobile games and phone games, which, you know, for me, for the last like decade has been Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Like, I don't even want to talk about the hours and time, money at this point as well that I've got in that over the last, I think they had their 9 or 10 year anniversary recently. So, no, but we don't need to go into that one.
No, let's go into it. Thousands of dollars, correct?
I'll plead the fifth.
That's me in Disney Magic Kingdoms.
Nice.
I would like to say, and now Disney Dreamlight Valley, I spend some money on there. Once in a while, I'll get Xbox gift cards, and I'll be like, "Yay! I'm gonna go spend moonstones or gems in these games." So,
Nissa, honest talk. Winter Bros, your game of the year, or is it Dreamlight Valley?
No, it's probably Dreamlight Valley or Flintlock or Hi-Fi Rush. I really liked Hi-Fi Rush, even though there was some platforming that I had to go to some younger kids and be like, "Here, jump for me," and everything. But I would say also, I have a lot of games of the year, but I really, really like Zelda. I would say Zelda is probably my game of the year, even though I haven't finished it. There's so much to do in that game, and it's very open box to a point, but it's also a really fun game. Zelda Echo Wisdom.
It sounds like even playing the Zelda game that you can kind of either try to capture as many of the different echoes and you know, or we've seen a lot of people kind of brute force their way with a few of the echoes that they learned along the way. You can still have fun, whichever way you choose to play.
Whatever you do, go get a bed. Get the beds. The beds are important.
That's awesome.
Is that the one where like you solve? That's the one where you have to like solve problems essentially with stuff that you create. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like Zelda. Zelda's a
conjurer.
She's a witch.
She's a sorcerer. Because she's a sorcerer. She's like, she finally has her own game, and people are kind of complaining about it because she doesn't have a sword. Why can't Zelda have a sword? I'm like, because she like in every single game, she was a sorcerer. She played with magic.
Who needs a sword when you can cast spells?
That's right.
Look, I remember the Zelda of the 80s, and the ones from the cartoon, she had a bow and arrow, and she would shoot stuff, and she's always had like the bow of light and whatnot. So
your D&D wizards and sorcerers cannot wield swords. That's all I'm saying.
What's the D&D?
Dungeons and Dragons.
What's the Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, he's trolling you, Kev.
Come on. Don't bait me like that.
So we got dreams. Go ahead, Rebbies, please.
Oh, I was just to say, like being able to play as the wizard, the guy that I work with, he just platinumed all the Dark Soul games, and his specialty was all like he did not like doing any of the combat. He liked doing range damage, and that's how he played. That's how he beat Elden Ring and platinumed all the Dark Souls. He's
Maybe
like,
that's what I need to do.
Yep,
I'm a fan of the
he
guy
loved that build
as well. I'm with that.
And then in Dragon Age Inquisition, I always play as a human, and even in D&D, I always play as a human magician type person. Somebody who like is range damage, causes a lot of damage, and everything with magic.
Now that's an interesting one that I haven't even got to. I bought Dragon Age when it went on sale, like because love BioWare. My legendary helmet for Mass Effect is back there. Love Dragon Age Inquisition. Big fan. I just haven't gotten to the new Dragon Age yet. It's still in plastic from where I got it from Amazon, sitting on my TV stand downstairs. So I'm excited to get into that one. I just haven't done it yet.
Kev, you and I both started Star Wars Outlaws, and we're both like, this game's fun, but didn't go back to it.
Yep.
It's almost like a free-to-play game sucked up all your time.
Gee, Logan.
Hmm?
No, but Outlaws, I don't know. I put a couple hours into it, and I was like, man, this is a good game. I'm going to enjoy playing this at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't feeling it. I was not feeling the Ubisoft formula right now. And you can see, especially now, because I was coming to it a little bit late. I don't remember when you got it, if it was at launch or whenever, Luke. But coming to a little bit late with a couple of patches into it where they fixed a lot of the stuff that I remember being problems. It's been really smooth for me, but it didn't hook me for the moment right now. It just wasn't really what I've been feeling.
No, it's exact same. And Logan, it wasn't even like I started it before Rivals. It just didn't click. It just didn't click, and it's a shame because they did fix a lot of the issues that people like reviewers had with it. It just didn't click.
Logan, would you like to know what I was playing instead of Outlaws?
Were you playing Call of Duty?
I was playing Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
All right, so the Call of Duty's on the docket. We're going to talk about that one. I want to read a few of the community members that have spotlighted some of their games of the year, and then thank a coffee chick for a super chat. Let's first give a shout out to Can of Beans. What's up, Can of Beans? He says Helldivers 2 should have been game of the year. So Can of Beans, very passionate about Helldivers 2. That was on my short list. That one was on my short list. X Bacon Gaming from the Nerd Chat says Indiana Jones game of the year. And then Silkenet jumps in with saying, I think Indy might be the best well-rounded game I played this year. Story, character, music, gameplay, graphics, etc. So another vote for Indy on that one. Fuzzy Belvedere, good to see you, Fuzzy. State of Decay 2 was his most played for 2024. I love seeing that because that game is awesome. Stalker 2 is his game of the year 2024 with Dragon's Dogma 2 a close second. Dragon's Dogma 2, another good one that I just bounced off of for some reason. and then Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2 in his top 5. That's a great list, Fuzzy. That's a good list of games, man. That's a good list of games. And then shout out to a coffee chick for dropping a $10 super chat and saying, my game of the year is Rust. I never thought it would be a game that I'd be into, but I was surprised. Well, first of all, it's dope that you found a game you loved. That's cool. Second of all, I'm curious, and Logan, maybe you can expound. Why was Rust not one that you thought you'd get into? Because I'm unfamiliar with Rust. Like, I feel like I've heard about it, and it goes out of my brain.
Rust is an interesting one because that's one that I'm still learning the ropes on. But the thing that I think is what's drawing about it is right now, like Coffee Chick and I are partnered up on a private server from one of the Sea of Thieves creators, LD Silver, and with that, it's community driven. So. But it's all PvP and PvE stuff. So they have stuff that's like you go out and you raid different little like places and you get special equipment and you bring that back and then you can kind of build up your base. But there's all the survival kind of foraging for supplies, upgrading your base, and then building like weapons and stuff to go and raid other people's like homes and stuff. So it's this idea of like, I don't know if you ever played like the Warcraft or StarCraft game. Like you played StarCraft, right?
Warcraft. I was big into Warcraft.
Okay, so you remember those modes, the private matches where people would be like, okay, we'll build up your base for 20 minutes and then take your army and go after someone.
Yes.
That's what Rust is with survival. Cool. That's effectively like what this community is. You go, you build your base, you learn as much as you can, you get enough weapons, and then you go and you attack someone. And
now, Logan, is that the server that you're on, or is that like a universal set of rules?
That is effectively what most of what Rust is. I've seen like some like Twitched Rivals had a thing not too long ago, and they had teams of people that were kind of doing the same thing. But effectively, it's like you go, you build up as much as you can, you try and get as powerful as you can, and then you go and you try and take out the other teams. And that is like the essence from what I can tell of Rust. Now, granted, I'm pretty early into like the whole community and stuff, but it's kind of well known. Like if you run into someone out in the world, it's like 50-50. You're going to either get killed and they're going to take your stuff, or you're going to talk to them and like, kind of parlay with them, see what they need, what you need, kind of trade stuff out. But yeah, like for the most part, you're going to be like building up your base, getting your weapons, and then going after other people and stuff. That PvE, EVP, PvE nature it's really interesting, especially when you get a nice tight community who's friendly with each other and knows each other. And it's like, it's all just in good fun. You're just going out there to see who you can raid and enjoy like the aspect of that.
So it's kind of open, similar to a Minecraft Palworld, but
yeah,
a little more PvP oriented.
Yeah.
That sounds like your game.
It feels a lot like what we enjoy about Sea of Thieves, but just without like the ships and the piracy and stuff. It's more just like survival kind of PUBG feel.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now, Logan, is it on your game of the year list?
I don't think I've had enough time with it to be able to throw it up on my list. Mine is a toss up between. Well, I'm still struggling with what I want to do because I feel like Helldivers 2 and Call of Duty campaign are like right next to each other with how much fun I had this year. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to ignore something like Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, which to me was an amazing story in a game that I was not anticipating to be as good as it was, even with some of the technical flaws. So for me, it's really hard because I'm kind of between Helldivers 2 and Call of Duty campaign, knowing that Indy is like right there, and Indiana Jones so far has been really fun. Like I've really enjoyed that.
Let's talk about Indiana Jones, and then I do want to loop back to COD because COD is super high on your list. Your review was immaculate. I really would point lots of people towards that one.
Thank you.
How many of you guys have played Indiana Jones? Because I have not.
I've played it a bit, but not very far.
Red Beast, you saying no?
Not yet. I have it downloaded, and I like the patches that have come through, and I just haven't had a chance to get it started yet. I've been plowing away at Stalker 2 for the last month. So
Gotcha. And Kev, you haven't played it either, have you?
Nope. It's on the list. Very, very excited to get to it. But it's just, we've had other stuff come up that we've been playing a lot and haven't really been feeling like diving into a big single player experience like that. Plus Dragon Age is still sitting there. So
yeah.
And Star Wars Outlaws.
And Star Wars.
So many games.
There's so many games.
Right?
There are so many games. And that was the big thing. Like back at the Xbox E3, somebody yelled out, I think it was Jay Fonzarelli yelled out, too many games. And like the mics all picked it up and everybody reported on it. We're not even to that showcase. And I still feel like there's too much else I want to play. So, Logan, you make sure I'm not crazy. You have played it though, correct?
Yeah. I've got a fair amount of time into indie. I feel like I'm trying to get like as many of the puzzles finished as I possibly can, because I don't want to go further into the story, actual mainline story, and end up missing like a really good like puzzle and stuff like that. But dude, as much as I have qualms with Troy Baker, just because of like the interactions that I've like had, the parasocial interactions I've had with him, like at conventions and stuff.
Oh, it's like personal. It's not like, I hear it and I know it's Troy Baker. Like it's not like that. You're talking like the way I am about Jeff Keighley.
Yeah,
Hand
like
selection.
I like having to get to like listen to Troy Baker at a convention during like an actual panel and have him talk and stuff. It's just there's something about him that kind of rubs me the wrong way, and it's nothing that I can really like articulate without being cruel. So there's no real point in jumping into it because I don't know him as a person. I just know what I get from him.
Mhm.
There's a reason why this dude is hired for so much. But one thing I will say is that him doing Indiana Jones is probably his best work. And if he ever gets remembered for anything that he's done, I hope it's Indiana Jones, because he's truly done an exemplary job of doing Harrison Ford in this game. And that, coupled with Machine Games' understanding of what it's like to walk around in some of these really like beautiful atmospheres. The music is on point. The setting is fantastic. The interactions are nice. The only issue that I've really had with it is it's the AI is kind of like lackluster and kind of harkens back to some of the qualms that I think people have had with Star Wars Outlaws and Redfall. So those are things that I would probably like ding it for. But yeah, Indie's been fun, dude. Like it is 100% an adventure game, and it doesn't necessarily need the action like moniker on it to qualify it as being a really fun game.
I've heard so many people talk about it in our community, right? Like our XEP community, but you're really just like the gaming circles that we inhabit. And I know that everybody's super high on it, but I can't get past having not played it, mind you. So like, this is the outside looking in, like, speaking from ignorance here, the first person perspective idea, because in my mind, it shouldn't be that. Would you say that you got over that, or it didn't bother you pretty quickly?
I actually don't care for the fact that it's first person. I originally was like kind of like, I kind of want to see Indiana Jones, and you do have like costumes that you wear, and it'd be kind of cool to see those. You get to see it from time to time when you're like climbing up your whip or climbing up a ladder. But honestly, with the combat system that they've got, with the like, because each of your triggers are like your left and right punch, and that for whatever reason feels really visceral when you're actually like going up again, because they've got the sound effects, dude. The sound effects are like straight from the movie. It feels like when you're punching a guy, it's like a sonic boom to the face. It's wild. And that really plays well when it comes to first person. Now it feels kind of weird, when you're crouching and you're thinking Indiana Jones is like crouching, walking around, trying to sneak past people and stuff. So for all intents and purposes, man, they've got stuff laying around everywhere. I generally just grab something, walk up and beat someone in the head with it, and then I'm done. Like that's what Indy would do. He'd sneak around a corner, he'd knock someone up against, with like a shovel, and be done with it. So I think the first person has done really well to let you feel like you're embodying Indy in what feels like a movie. Honestly, it really feels great.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I see a lot of chat are agreeing with just the idea that Indy is that good. Fuzzy Belvedere saying Indiana Jones is so much more than I expected. Lots of exploration, great characters, really immersive. And Logan, maybe that's like that immersion with the sound effects 100%. And such.
Yeah, the tertiary characters are so well done, like well voiced, well thought out, fully rendered kind of characters, and I actually really like that about the game, because there's times where you're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's the priest. He's got his like hearing aid, and he's got like a little microphone thing down here, and he's like walking around. And he gets really jazzed about like American jazz music, and you're just like, this guy's such a little character. It's great. It's exactly like what I would expect out of like a secondary character in an Indiana Jones movie. It's lovable in all the right ways.
How much time have you put into it? Because Bacon beat it. He said it took him about 26 hours.
Ooh, let me double check on that. I want to say it's like close to 5 hours, but I could probably get the actual time in on it.
Well, you look that up. Kev definitely said he's going to play it. Red Beast said you'd play it once you're done with Stalker. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think, well, I don't want to say anything bad about Stalker. I'm about probably 30 hours in, and according to the mission, I think I'm about 2/3 the way through. And I think I'm hitting the point where I've seen most of what I want to see. I've kind of, I've enjoyed it, but I think, it's getting a little long in the tooth. Yeah. And that's, just natural. So I think I may jump over to it. And I think the one thing that I really like that choice to do first person is similar to with the Alien games. The one that came out last year versus Alien Isolation that came out back in, yeah. And just the difference between being in third person and first person for like Alien Isolation is that, you just that immersion that you feel playing as Amanda Ripley, it looks like that with Indiana Jones that, I look forward to that. I think that can kind of capture that feeling. So that's why I'm definitely looking forward to playing that.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Nissa, is it on your list?
I'll watch people play it, and I've seen Jesse from Xbox Era play it. But I don't think it would be my type of game. I know people get like kind of go, ooh, motion sickness. But I'm like, I know that Xbox Era guys were kind of ragging on people who said that. But I kind of don't do first person very well. It's like a depth perception situation, and it's kind of like an out of body experience almost. But I'd like to watch people play him.
Gotcha. Yeah, they were dunking on the people that were the PlayStation podcasters that were saying, oh, it'll give you motion sickness. But then once it was announced to PlayStation, they were excited. That's who they were.
I don't like, yeah, okay. I don't mind first person that much, but like I've played a first person shooter, and I think I played Division 1 one time, and I died so many times. My friend Bob was there, and he was laughing his butt off because I kept dying trying to shoot in first person. And I'm like, yeah, I guess first person isn't better for me. I'm better at third person games.
Gotcha.
Maybe not shooting games, but first person games.
Gotcha.
I will say the Indiana Jones is not a typical first person game in my experience. The pacing is intended to be like kind of calm and just kind of moving through it from what I had. I checked, it was about 10 hours in to Indy, and I feel like I haven't scratched the surface barely. So it's definitely a much slower paced game than I was anticipating, which has lent itself to exploration and just kind of walking around trying to I'm literally like scratching my head trying to figure out some of these puzzles, because I don't want to let it go, because I know there's something to it that so I'll sit there and just like go back and forth from area to area, and I don't feel pressured by combat in the slightest.
That's a good feeling then. Okay, nice. It looks like it took Silkenet 23 hours to finish Indy, and he has a couple hours ahead of him cleaning up just puzzles and such. So sounds like he's right on course to match Bacon's time and whatnot. Okay, cool.
I'll
deal.
probably take longer with it than that.
Yeah. I know another big one on the list was Call of Duty for both Kev and for Logan. Didn't make my list, but to be fair, I didn't play enough of it, and I have not gotten to the campaign because that came in right around the time I started reviewing and working on the MetaQuest content. So I just didn't. Call of Duty just missed me for one reason or another. So I was wondering, Kev, if you could talk a little bit about where COD sits on your list, and then everybody else could just jump in and wax poetic as you like.
It's up there. As far as time played, the way that they redid their app to include like all the Call of Duties forever and ever into one app means that Call of Duty, the app, between Modern Warfare, Black Ops 6, Warzone, all of it, was my most played of the year. I've spent the most hours in that, like by a pretty wide margin, because we played a ton of Modern Warfare. I played a ton of Black Ops 6 with both you and with Logan a lot. I'm several prestiges deep now. Love the multiplayer. I think it's really good. I thought that Omni movement was gonna, I don't know, make it not fun and have all the same people that are like doing all the crazy building in Fortnite. We're going to come in there with Omni movement and just be sliding and diving and like dunking on me. But it really wasn't that big of a deal. If anything, it helped me out a little bit and be able to move at the same speed laterally as you do forward and back. I thought that was a really cool addition. Changed the gameplay a little bit. The one thing that did surprise me was Logan got us on playing hardcore, which I'll have avoided in every other Call of Duty, but hardcore's been really good.
It has been that has been amazing. I agree.
Yeah. It was surprising to me because I'm usually very much a traditional Call of Duty player with that time to kill, and with like generally objective based modes like your domination and all that, but doing hardcore for both your objective based modes and your TDM has been great. They really backslid with Warzone since Black Ops 6 came out, is what the community is saying, and we've only touched Warzone a little bit since it came out. But I think the multiplayer in Black Ops 6 shines huge for me. Definitely top 3 for this year. But again, unlike the majority of the people in this chat and in our XEP Discord community, I don't play as much of a variety of games as everybody else. I play our multiplayer games with the boys and a couple other things, and that's about it. But Black Ops 6 for me, very, very high. I've done about half the campaign. Love the campaign so far. Just again, got busy playing a lot of the multiplayer and haven't gone back to finish it up yet. But definitely ranks highly for me, both in time and quality.
Logan?
Yeah, I would say that the campaign really surprised me because it took me to places with a Call of Duty campaign that I was not anticipating. I was expecting there to just be run and gun corridor levels where you're just set in different settings, and every once in a while they'll throw you into like a sneaking mission with a little bit of open world and stuff based on Warfare 3. And to be perfectly honest, I was surprised by just how many other games the campaign reminded me of that really kind of made me think like, I really do need to go and give Control like an honest effort. I do want to go back and play like Resident Evil 2 and 3 and go back to Village and stuff. It's like there's some little like nods to other games. Like, dude, I never thought I would have a grapple in Call of Duty campaign and using that to escape zombies in a random like corridor or like a little battle arena, like a Doom game or something. Like, dude, I was like, that's just wild to me. Like, I was never anticipating that. But it all works. It all works and it makes sense. And the story sits on its own without needing to absolutely have to understand who all the characters are from the previous Black Ops games. And I appreciated that coming into it, not having played Cold War. But then like Call of Duty multiplayer feels fun. It feels great. I've been working on my camos and my prestiges, and that's just like everything that I want to do in a game that involves like, just general shooting is all right there. Like I've got the different modes, I've got the different things to work on. It's the catch is there, the hook is there to be able to play it. So I've just been really having a good time with that. That's why it's kind of like sitting right next to Helldivers 2 for me, because those two shooters have just done an excellent job of feeling visceral while telling its own story. And I think that's the thing that really needs to step outside of it's kind of like why you guys have been enjoying Rivals, because Rivals at its heart is just another shooter, but there's something special about Rivals that is distinct enough from Overwatch or other games of its ilk that gives you that something that hooks you into what you enjoy playing about it. And I think that's the difference with this Call of Duty versus past Call of Duties, and same thing with like Helldivers. Like it's really fun.
Rivals is definitely one I want to talk about, but I want to focus on COD for just one more moment. Do you think this is going to give you inkling or desire to go play other Call of Duty campaigns?
I actually want to go back to Call of Duty Cold War. Knowing that Adler is just a character that's kind of like persisted through the Call of Duties, I feel like I want to go back and kind of get a better understanding of like what the heck was going on in Cold War, because I completely skipped over that campaign. So I actually do want to go back and jump into those and like get more of like the story. But at the same time, I'm also going to be having in the back of my mind, like it's not going to be as good as this campaign was for me. So I'm going to have to like pull back on my expectations for like how it's built going in. Gotcha. I'm excited. Like, I hope you check out like Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare and all that, because those are some fun campaigns. And like Red Beast, I see you're nodding, so I'm gonna hope and assume that you're with me on that one.
Yeah, I highly recommend going back to the campaigns. I think they're fun, and you can choose the difficulty you want. It's one of those like popcorn type games that it's a ride, and it's a fun experience all the way through. It's one of those like, don't try to think too hard about where the plot is going, just go with it. And I think you have a blast. After Activision and all their, shenanigans, I kind of boycotted buying any games from them for a few years until they exchange hands over to Microsoft. So I'm probably a few years behind. But yeah, I replayed all the Black Ops games a couple of years ago, along with the Modern Warfare when they remastered them. And I think they're awesome. They're definitely worth experiencing.
That's good to hear. Yeah, because that's definitely something that, knowing that they've kind of like had a good story throughout. Like I've done Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and now with Black Ops 6, I'm like, these are really good campaigns. It's like I understand like why people have been playing Call of Duty for so long, and it's because there is like a quality level that you don't always get to have with like every other shooter out there. Like I remember playing Battlefield 4 and thinking this is the bee's knees, and then realizing like it's just going into each different match and having that kind of warfare mode.
That's I'm sorry, I got distracted by the chat, Logan. I apologize.
How dare you?
I was reading everybody's love for Call of Duty. It just made me happy because Anubis saying he liked the 2019 Modern Warfare. Coffee Chick talking about how she's prestiged further in this one than any other, despite playing Call of Duty for 15 plus years. And then also shouting out Modern Warfare 4, which is, I think she means Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, right? Okay, making sure. So. Naming conventions, Xbox 360, Xbox One. So it's fun to me because I think Call of Duty, like a few games, gets dumped on because it's popular, when in fact there's a lot of goodness to be celebrated there.
Yeah, it's kind of like Kev hating on Fortnite, even though Fortnite's great.
Fortnite is great.
Fortnite's okay.
It is not even just okay. Don't let this man fool you. He lives for it when COD is not in season. He loves it. It's crazy. I actually went on a mini rant about that on socials today.
Don't get me wrong. I put plenty of hours in Fortnite, had some good times playing it, but I'd rather play Warzone. I'd rather go back and download Apex. Just about any battle royale I'd rather play than Fortnite. But Fortnite is still good. It is a good game. Yeah. But there are other games I'd rather play.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Definitely before they had a no build mode, like no build mode made that game acceptable.
Agreed.
It was not acceptable in build mode. It was trash.
I fully agree.
If you're into Dreamlight Valley and you haven't tried Fortnite Lego, you're missing out, because it's fun in a way that reminds me of Dreamlight Valley. that I get to just go in, have fun, smack things with a sword, pick up little Lego bricks, build stuff, create my own little town on my own little private server. And there's still like story stuff later on that if I really want to go like address, I can go address.
I went on a mini rant today, just in general, about people that are dunking on Marvel Rivals and saying it's the IP that lets it live, or people that dunk on Fortnite because it's popular or whatnot. And like, first of all, the IP argument is so dumb because like Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, being tied to a major IP does not guarantee success in any way, shape, or form. But it certainly can be a boon to something that people want for sure. So there's no doubt about that aspect of it. But people that dump on the popular thing because it's popular, it's just not smart. It's such a, to me, a very ignorant thing to do. And I look back at when I've done that. Like when I was a kid, I was Gears of War, Halo sucks, Gears of War rules. It's like, what a stupid thing. I'm missing out. And like when we started playing Fortnite, we did not want to because of build mode and stuff. When we found ourselves really putting in a lot of hours, once we realized we were just having fun in a basic third-person shooter. And then they continued to iterate. And the same can be said for a lot of games. Call of Duty's just Call of Duty, but it's awesome. We have a blast with it. And so it always makes me happy when people let go of that stigma argument and just enjoy the games on their own right.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very interesting to me how you bring up that mentality of, oh, I hate Halo. It's all Gears of War, like whatever. I was that way with Call of Duty. When I was first starting to work at GameStop, I was a Halo stan. Played Halo 3 in the dorms and at my college apartment, and that was it. And it took our old pal Jason convinced me to get Modern Warfare, called the first Modern Warfare, because that the year that I started working at GameStop was the year that came out. And I've never looked back. It's one of those things where I dunked on it because it wasn't Halo, and boy did I learn.
Yep. And like, how many of us have a story like that where we could just look back and be like, I wish I had just relaxed and tried this, and or not pretended that this thing was bad because it wasn't my thing. You know, too many examples, at least in my lifetime, where I'm like, oh, I would have had way more fun for longer if I had just been cool about it. So let's read a couple chats here. First, shout out to Todd Oxtra in chat. Hope you're enjoying the game. X-Bacon Gaming says Fortnite is awful. No. No Bilbo brought Coffee Chick to Fortnite. Like hearing that. It makes me happy. Dark City says Indiana Jones Game of the Year. Todd Oxtra jumping in with, I wish there were more PvE multiplayer games like Helldivers 2 and Destiny because they feel like the rare exceptions. If Marvel Rivals did a PvE mode with bosses and some cutscenes, that would really rub it over in Overwatch's face. Yeah, I do think it's important to push Overwatch and push Microsoft in that front in general. You're absolutely right. I agree with that one. I like a good PvE game, but for some reason we don't stick with them. Like Aliens Fireteam Elite, we talked about earlier in the show briefly. I dig that game. I dig that game as a PvE game. We like more World War Z as a PvE game. But they don't seem to stick around as much as I would like.
Don't worry, Borderlands 4 is coming.
Yeah, that's true. It's sans toilet humor, which actually is more appealing than it was prior.
From a psychology aspect, it's the PvP is more because it's like competition and everything. It's us against them type situation and everything. And PvE is like you have to be collaborative, and a lot of people hate being collaborative.
Gotcha. Well,
if you're okay, Luke, I'm going to shift that to Marvel Rivals, because that is why I am enjoying Marvel Rivals, is the fact that it's both. If you go in and everybody just picks a random hero and there's no attention to like what plays well together and what works well together, you've lost. You've lost in Champ Select, basically.
Right.
And the fact that we have to communicate positively as a team and have really good comms back and forth, while also having that competitive nature to the game is honestly the reason that I like it. Because we can jump into Call of Duty, and Logan can attest to this, and we can just do our own thing. You know, we might say, oh, there are guys coming up the right, guys coming up the left, guys in the middle, but that's about it. And we don't even always do that, because we can just go in there and just run it and do whatever we want to do, still win, still be successful. But Rivals brings that aspect of having to work together. You have to have a balanced team. And I didn't play Overwatch 2 at all. Overwatch 1 faded for me really quick. So the comparisons of them being the same game, I don't know. They look like they're basically the same game, but with Marvel Rivals, you have a lot more diversity in characters. There's a huge roster, it feels like. So many different characters to learn, so many different ways that they can interact together. Bonuses you get from picking, say, Venom and Spider-Man at the same time. That kind of to your point of the difference in a PvE versus a PvP. I think Rivals does an excellent job of combining the two. And I would love, I think you said, Todd Oxtra said it in the chat. I don't have the chat up. A PvE mode for that, like boss fights for that. Oh my gosh, that'd be so good.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, done.
Yep. Anubis, you've been playing Rivals with us as well. Would you agree with Kevin's statements?
Yeah. I mean, I have I'm enjoying Rivals, but I don't have the same love that you guys have for it. I'm having my fun, but I also don't think it's better than Overwatch, but I think it's fresher than Overwatch. And like, I haven't touched Overwatch in several, well, I guess I hopped on like a month ago to kind of hype up for Marvel Rivals, but other than that, I haven't touched Overwatch in like a couple years because they completely botched Overwatch 2 and they chased everyone away, in my opinion. But then so Rivals does a lot of great stuff as well. I do wish they would do the story better. Or this is not how I absorb a story. You don't tell me a story through side chatter. You don't make me go look at whatever that was that Destiny made you like use their website to go find the lore. It's like, no, you got to tell me in this game, just like you're reading a book to me. Like, just tell me what the story is. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There are a ton of characters. I am surprised how many characters launched with this game. I do want some more map diversity, so I hope we get that soon. But I have a lot of fun with it. And to the same, Overwatch had this same effect with me, that there are so many great characters to play that you will find one or two in each different category that you'll at least be able to play. Whether or not you are great or not is different, but so that, yeah, like they're all easy. There's at least a handful that are easy enough to use that you can have fun playing whatever role. So yeah, it really is. It is a great game. I would like to see more of an evolution, though. Great point with the like the team up abilities and stuff. That's something that they are doing better than Overwatch. Something that we can kind of really passively complement each other. And furthermore, push the need for cohesion and working together. You know, it's I would say Overwatch, you can kind of one-man army it better than Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals very much is a team-based game. And so yeah, I think they have something there. I am curious to see where they go in 3 months. I want to see if it's still there. But I do want them to keep evolving it. And I really agree with you guys. I love the idea of PvE, like, and because that's how you could also tell me the story. Like, I know that the story is somehow it is like there's two Doctor Dooms from parallel universes, and they're like fighting to win or something like that. So tell that to me in a PvE mode where I can kind of pay more attention to what is being said.
I'm on board with the PvE mode for sure. And I think for me, I was taken aback by just how much depth there actually is, because at first I was just kind of in the like, I feel like this is probably getting carried by its IP. It's probably just a quick cash grab because, you know, it's not, I don't know, the art style would initially suggest that it's not, you know, very well thought out, when in fact there's layers to everything and everything's really well done. It launched in a great working state while they do season 0. The monetization is what I would expect from a free to play, and it's in the realm of other like Fortnite's, Call of Duty's, that kind of thing. Still feels a little bit high, but there's so much game there and so much variety out the gate for any free to play player. I mean, I think it has 33 different characters, and it does a really good job at emphasizing the need for different roles. That there's a lot more depth that I am learning and discovering to this game in general, that has really kind of caught me off guard for my enjoyment of it. I also want to give a quick shout out to the idea that they've been adding in other little modes to go with it. So like there was that fun Jeff event, which is basically Splatoon. There was, or there is an arcade mode that they added in post launch for just like, if you just want PvP with no like real objective, it's just TDM. That's a really cool option there. And then just the amount of characters that are on the way for it. Also, there's something to be said there in a world where, let's be blunt, like there are a lot of games that come out and die, games that don't look like they're set to be found out to go well when they start free to play. And this one looks like it's having a great start and it's got legs, which surprised me, but I'm excited.
To Anubis, you told me more about the plot in Marvel Rivals than I knew. I learned something. I didn't know there was any sort of story going on because I didn't read any of those little title cards at all. I just moved past them. But yeah, and, they could steal an idea. You know, if they're going to do some sort of PvE mode to use to bring some storytelling aspects to it, they could absolutely steal from Fortnite. That's one thing that Fortnite does really well and gets a lot of attention with is when they do these live in-game events, where if you're on at X time, you know, at X place, you go to this map and Mariah Carey shows up and starts singing All I Want for Christmas Is You, you know, like that stuff like gets people's eyes on the game, even if they don't play it. And that's absolutely something they could do for sure.
It's just weird and true. It's a very good point, but it's weird that that's a thing we live in, you know? It's like, oh, she has arrived. So we've got Rivals, we've got COD, we've talked Dreamlight Valley, Indiana Jones. What else is on everyone's list? Red Beast, what you got for us?
The game that I really like to highlight is Pacific Drive, and that came out. Oh yeah. So that was it's kind of a, let's see, it's at its basic, it's a survival driving game where it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, where you basically find yourself attached to a car, and it's an old beat up station wagon, and there's anomalies going on in the world where you're trying to investigate this particular zone and what happened. And so you start out, it's a roguelite, but it captures, some survival aspects where each run you're going out into this zone, trying to find, materials and supplies to learn what's going on and, build up your base, enhance your car each time. And it just has a lot of unique mechanics, and you can tell they spend a lot of time, with feedback from playtesters, because I'm not one that wants to sit and just design my base or my car. I don't want to pick all the individual little pieces, or, I don't know how to be a mechanic to a car. But in this one, they're like, okay, you need to do the basics of building up an exterior. So here's a wrench, bang it a few times, boom, there you go. You have an enhanced, you've added a barrier to the car, and now it's, you're safe from electricity or different elements that are out there. So you do these different runs, and it has a game loop that, each run takes 15, 20 minutes. And as you're going, at some point you've collected enough materials and you need to get out, and you activate this kind of sensor, the takeoff. And it's just amazing where it creates this urgency to escape. And just between the sound elements and things that are going on, every time you get out and get back to base, you just take that big sigh, like deep breath, and just let it out. It's kind of like having a great game in COD, where at the end of the round, you're building up at the end of Warzone, and at the very end it's over. You take a deep breath, kind of, okay, what happened? And then you go back out there. Yeah. And that's just the game loop to the end. And it is just great.
It is
go ahead,
currently on sale on Steam right now for $18 or $21 if you want the deluxe edition.
Even the base game, I did not get the deluxe version. I looked at what's in there. I don't think it's a lot more game added to it. I think you just get different cosmetics, which I'm all for supporting the developer, if you like to do that. But the base game itself, it's easy to jump in. It's not overly complex. with the mechanics. So there's a little bit of a learning curve. Like you have to remember to always park the car, or if you open and get out, it'll just start to wander away. And you're like, oh, okay, it requires a little input. But yeah, I thought it was something special. And driving games aren't really my forte, but it really pulled me in with that loop. And, it was just a lot of fun.
It's got
That's
some
so
pretty
cool to
good
hear.
reviews.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm glad
Logan.
some nods at the Game Awards. At least it was up for an award there. That I think that was great.
Yeah. Looking at it now, it's like IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which rightly should be like an 8 out of 10 for most people. For GameSpot, gave it an 8 out of 10. Eurogamer was a 4 out of 5. Like, it's reviewed pretty well. I didn't realize that it was actually a roguelike though. That kind of surprises me because I didn't think that that's what that game was going to be when I first saw kind of the trailers for that coming out.
I saw that on Skill Up's channel for one of his Game of the Year kind of recaps there. So, and then Silkenit in chat saying he noticed it thanks to the Indie Game Awards, or rediscovered it thanks to the Indie Game Awards. Does this game have a following, and I'm the one in the kind of the rabbit hole not knowing this?
I hope so. I don't know. Go ahead, Mrs. Sorry.
I was gonna say I bought it like a couple bonuses ago, but I haven't had a chance to play it. When ACG reviewed it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like a cool game," because I like it. I just say Survivor games are like cozy games with you have to fight things and everything. So it looked like a game that I could play and still have fun and do things with an extra.
If you end up
element to it.
snagging it, report back because I am curious.
Oh, I bought it. It's just in my backlog
Gotcha.
of games that I need to like actually play.
We lost Anubis. Oh no, he disappeared. Okay, good call out. Pacific Drive there. What else do we have on the list? It was going to be Anubis's turn, so I don't want to like jump ahead. If he's able to get back in, we'll bring him in. Just kidding. There he is. Maybe Anubis, you good?
I think I'm good. Yeah, my leg hit the cord and unplugged the camera.
All good. What games would you like to shout out, my friend?
Okay. Well, it's time to tell you once again about the greatest game of 2024, which came out in 2023, known as Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah. So it's compared to Far Cry, but that really doesn't do it justice. That's kind of like comparing a Lies of P to a Souls game. Like it gives you an idea, but it doesn't describe the game. It's really, really beautiful. So like if anyone, like I know a lot of people are like, I've got this, this new gen system. What can I play that's gonna wow me graphically? This is a game that will wow you graphically. It's also a very simple. I'm going to call it a simple game if you know first-person shooters, but like mechanically, it does the Ubisoft formula. You can sneak around, you've got fortresses scattered around the world, but it's this massive, beautiful world of Pandora. So you've got all these different jungle areas. The story was fun. You've got some interesting character development. Like I won't go into spoilers, but the premise is you and a couple other of your not V tribe were kidnapped by Marines when you were young, and like 15 years go by, and then now we're into the game, and you're the last of your tribe has been extinct. And so you guys are the last of your tribe, and you're just going there, and you're kind of the blend of, well, I know how human stuff works. I know how to use guns, and I know what they do. But also I'm a not V, so I am in tune with nature and stuff like that. And you get to go and you see these other tribes and you meet these other characters. And there was some good story stuff there. There really was minor spoiler territory. I won't get into too much detail, but a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome thing going on with one character. And then there was like some fun like side quest love story that was just like fun. And then you get to just fly around on a pterodactyl. So it's great for just kind of killing time. We were talking about like earlier hopping on and off and playing games, and with the beauty of quick resume, that can be any single player game these days. And so for me, I was often just hopping on and like doing like one little mission here and there. And then, you know, you craft your stuff, you get better armor. It has online co-op, which I was amazed. Again, I can't stress, this is a big open world. And I had my friend hop in one time because there was one fortress I needed help because I was way under leveled. But I wanted his help, and I also wanted to test out the co-op. And in that, I was expecting us to be tethered, and he would just kind of teleport to me if we got too far. You literally can just go anywhere. There is no tethering. He could go do his thing. I'll do my thing. And that amazed me. And again, these are like dense forests. So I'm sure they've got, you know, some nice little algorithms that you've got your little bubble that's the only thing being generated. But still, there's a fair amount being generated for each individual person. So I was very impressed with that. But yeah, the game was great. And then to go further, if you want to start arguing that DLCs can be game of the year, they had 2 DLCs released in 2024. The first one, which I really loved, came out in the summertime, and that one was kind of like it was a post-game DLC. So like story-wise, it was after you beat the game, this would then happen. And it was kind of like we can resume these what do you call it? Like Olympic Games, I'm going to say. We can resume these tribal Olympic Games where all the different clans get together and have their fun in unison and stuff. And I was expecting they would just like put that in one of the fields that was in the world, but it was actually a new area. So they handcrafted a whole new, it wasn't as big, but I would say it was at least a quarter to a fifth the size of the normal map, which is a good chunk. And so I was very impressed with how big that was, and it was a fun story. Again, they did some interesting things story wise. Like they revealed some like deception and guilt and remorse and stuff, and I was like, all right, you've got some layers there, that it's not just like a shallow, not to bash like Call of Duty, but you know, it's not just a point gun shoot bad guy thing. There is depth if you want it. And then I haven't even beaten the next DLC, but then they just came out with another DLC just like a month ago, where yet again, I thought they were just going to add it to the map, but they gave me a whole new area with new abilities. And this one focused more about the floating islands. So this was more about flying around and learning new skills with aerial combat and stuff, which was really cool. But yeah, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is phenomenal. It is just what I needed, and it was just like a chill game that was also a good game.
It sounds like the perfect podcast game. You know, you put a podcast on the background and just go play.
You really could though. You absolutely could. Because that's unrelated to that. That is actually how I often have experienced my Far Cry games. Usually with Far Cry, I'll get a good chunk of story stuff, but then it's like, all right, I'm gonna stop doing mainline and I'm just gonna go do things and explore and get my collectibles. And absolutely, that's, you know, when you're not doing the main story audio, then you can absolutely just put a podcast on. Although I will say, the music in this game is good, and I have bought. I'm an old guy at heart who still buys music on iTunes. I did buy like 4 or 5 songs from them because I was like, yeah, I want to listen to these.
From the soundtrack proper, or the people that make the soundtrack?
From the soundtrack. So I
cool.
bought maybe 2 or 3 from the main game, and then the new Spire DLC that came out in December. I was like I was just playing it. I didn't realize they had new music for this. I was just kind of playing, and then like I was getting into this like fight with this animal, and like this music was going. I was like, this is kind of jamming. What is this? And so I had to look it up. And then I realized they had a new album specifically for this newest DLC. And then I found the song that I liked, and I bought that one. So there is some good music in there.
That's a good win. I love that. It's video games and movies that I discover music from, because I don't often like listen to music. So it is that is how I find music in general. That makes my day. That's cool to hear. That's cool to hear. Did you have any others on your list that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, actually I will. Hold on. All right. So I'm going to bring up my notes. So originally, for anyone else, I was not expecting to be able to make the show. So I started writing Luke, and boy, are you lucky that I made this show, because I'm like 10 paragraphs on this thing. Like I just
so
went
long.
to town. I could send, and I didn't even get to I didn't even talk about Avatar. But all right, so a couple things I wanted to point out. One really small one that I loved. I don't know 100% if it came out this year, but I played it in the beginning of the year. It is the DLC for a game called Valiant Hearts, which coincidentally is a Ubisoft game.
That's an old one, right?
So Valiant Hearts is pretty old. They came out with a DLC like maybe 2 years ago, but it was a freaking Netflix thing, so I didn't play it. But now it has come to Xbox. And it was, a short, like, couple hour experience, but I really loved the core game, and so I wanted more. So I really enjoyed that. Which was called Valiant Hearts Coming Home. So I played that. I liked that. Another game I played early in the year was a game called Guilt, which was made by Tequila Works, who did the game Rime.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, that's the best I got for you. Rime is a game that came out a long time ago. Right? I'm sorry, was that?
I'm sorry, GYLT.
Yes, yeah.
Right,
Guilt is GYLT, which was similar to Valiant Hearts. It was also a game exclusive to a silly platform. This one, I believe, was Stadia, or it was.
Yep.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was something that no gamers play, and is dead now. But I was very excited that came out. I'm gonna call it an indie Alan Wake. It utilizes flashlights. It is that horror atmosphere. And it's got some creepy mannequin things. But yeah, so Guilt was a lot of fun. Another not super long experience. 5 to 10 hours. I'm not very good at timing myself, but so those little ones I played in the beginning of the year that I really liked. And then I'll let other people harp on it. I don't have too much to say about Hellblade 2. It was fun. It's what I expected. I enjoyed the first game. I think I do enjoy the first game more. I think Hellblade 2, I wanted more from the boss fights, I think. The very first giant you fight in Hellblade 2, they killed it with the music sync and dodging the lava and stuff. That one was phenomenal, but I don't feel like any other one was memorable. Whereas in Hellblade 1, I really remember being terrified of the Fenrir fight, and I remember there was like a low-key fight or something that was cool. So I remember more about Hellblade 1, I think. So Hellblade 2, it was great. It's a nice showpiece, another graphically impressive game. But I think I watch too many podcasts, so if I'm wrong, my bad. But what Jez was saying on the latest Xbox expansion, I think he was mentioning Hellblade 2, how he just doesn't know how sustainable a high-end walking simulator is.
Yes.
And I fully agree with that. Like I've been saying it for a long time. I think I'm blanking. Who does Hellblade? I'm sorry.
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory. I think Ninja Theory is a lot more to Microsoft than Hellblade. We know they've got that other project, but I think that they are kind of a tech experimental hub that will learn new ways to do mocap and stuff, and then Microsoft will be able to use that for other studios. And so I kind of think that's how, and that this is my pure speculation, but I think that's how Ninja Theory is able to stay around, is because even if they don't make the games that make $1 billion, they are doing very good work in the industry, and Microsoft sees the value in that. I will skip over my quick event. Another game I really liked. Again, that was exclusive to another platform, so I guess I played a lot of games like that this year. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. I really liked this. I am a massive Disney fan, so this is like a kids Dark Souls Pixar animated thing, and I was like, this looks awesome. The story was a lot of fun. Combat was simple enough. It did have some boss
Anubis, will you
fights.
say it one more time? The name of it. I was reading the chat and I'm confused. So
Kenna.
Got it. Whatever, however you want to pronounce the name.
You get a stick and there's little cute guys that you put little costumes on.
Pixar Souls game. But yeah, it was fun, good collectibles. The fights put up enough of a challenge, but they weren't like frustrating. Because I don't play Souls games. I don't like it. Although we'll see in 2025 if I can play Lies of P. I really, really want to, just because of the property. So just how like Marvel Rivals, I want to play it because it's Marvel. I want to play Twisted Dark Pinocchio, and then I know the tease of the DLC, and I'm very excited for that too. And then I think to round it up, my big hits, it really was Star Wars Outlaws. I know you guys, you'll whenever you find time, you'll eventually get into it. What I have said to everybody is it took me about 10 hours to get hooked, which shouldn't have taken me that long because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So that was a misstep by them, no matter what. It probably won't take that long these days with the since that November update, honestly. But after you kind of get into you get to a couple planets and you kind of start getting into more story elements and you upgrade your stuff. Once you can upgrade it and you kind of stop fighting the game mechanics, then it really gets going. And once I got hooked, I did not put it down for a while. So that was really good. A game that I'm going to continue in next year is Epic Mickey. That's another one where it wasn't on Xbox when it came out, so I never played it. But now that Epic Mickey Rebrushed came out on Xbox, I love 3D platformers. We don't get enough. I'm really hopeful that Astrobot may have shown that there can be hope for 3D platformers that aren't Mario. But I'm really looking forward to playing more Epic Mickey, because that is like dark, twisted world of Disney. It's me bringing life back to this like decrepit Fallout wasteland of a theme park, which was awesome.
Didn't Warren Spector work on that?
I don't know. Does anyone know?
I feel like that was in Jason Schreier's book. Go ahead, Red Beast.
Oh, I was going to say, did you play Alice the Madness Returns?
Yes, I love both the Alice games. Are fantastic. Which, and I really could be mistaken here, I think are on Game Pass or existed on Game Pass.
I think you're right.
Anyone listening, I think you could. I know they took down the 360 store, but can't you still buy like the backwards compatible games or something? Yes, I think there's a way to obtain that game. Anyone who likes Disney or even 3D platformers, Alice. So the first one is American McGee's Alice, and then the second one is Madness Returns. Madness Returns, in my opinion, is the better game but the first one does a really good job of having every weapon has a specific purpose. Whereas Madness Returns just kind of had really cool weapons for you to just do what you want with. But they are absolutely top tier video games. So yes, the Alice games are really fantastic. And so that's why I'm really excited for Epic Mickey. I think I'm going to kind of get those vibes back.
Alice Madness Returns is 99 cents on Steam.
There you go.
Ooh.
So anyone on Steam, $1, even if you play it for an hour. But I bet you, if you play it for an hour, you'll just end up finishing the game. But I think that's really all I got. I guess, and the last thing is I didn't really harp in too much on the Indiana Jones topic. I will beat that. That is my going to be the first game that I beat in 25. When you guys were talking, I did look at my my hours played. I don't know how much is swayed due to quick resume, but I'm 14 hours in and I'm still in the Vatican, which is the first area. So I play games slowly. I like to look at everything. The puzzles aren't, I would like the puzzles to be more challenging. But at the same time, I'm enjoying the simplicity of it, and an easier puzzle means more people can just enjoy the game. So I'm okay with that. The AI is go ahead.
Have you gone below the tower yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I have gone below. The last thing I did is I forged 2 keys.
Okay, you're further than I have then, because there's a puzzle that was down there that I'm just I know there's something here, but I can't work it out. It's bugging the heck out of me.
I think they're my kind of puzzles, is what it is. So, there's definitely puzzles that will throw me, but these kinds of puzzles, I feel like I've seen enough in different games that you don't have to explain to me the concept. I generally know the concept. They're still figuring out. It's not like I'm just breezing through all of them completely, but more or less, it's okay, I can see where you're going. I think, I had fun getting below, doing those puzzles. Those were fun, but I still would have liked a little bit more challenge. But then, the AI is dumb, but I think that I do think it works as a complement to this game, which is weird, but because of it being Indiana Jones, because it's just Indiana Jones in nature is just campy and cheesy and just have fun and action. You're an action hero. It's not supposed to be that crazy. So it's all right, they're dumb. I'm just going to go punch them or grab something and smack them. And so that's a lot of fun. And it also, I would say, works well for another kind of podcast game where it's you can kind of turn off your brain and go just do things, unless you're doing a puzzle or something. But there's also if you're just trying to explore, and if you're high enough into the game where you can fight back and you can put up a good fight, you can really just kind of go do whatever. And then if you get caught, it's all right, well, I guess I'm just going to spend 10 minutes beating people, because they're going to be dumb enough to come just at you head on, and
there's no things to grab and smack.
if you need to run a loop around a building to kind of give yourself a break, you can do that. So the combat is simple enough, but it really is a lot of fun. And I would say, I don't know, it's probably a misleading comparison, but I'm going to compare it to my enjoyment with Skyrim. It was just simple. The game mechanics, they're solid. There's a lot of fun there, and it's just simple. So that's my 2024 Avatar.
That's a dope 2024, dude. You had some good stuff in that. That's awesome. I want to take a moment and talk about TMNT Splintered Fate, which I know isn't available on Xbox, but I freaking love this game. I've been playing it on Steam. It was initially on Apple Arcade, and I think kind of what you were saying, Anubis, is sometimes games, you just don't give them the attention that they deserve because of where they come out. Guild being the one I think that you were talking about, on Stadia. Splintered Fate is an amazing game that I know some of my buddies at the Nerd Chat have been checking out also. and it's doing really well on Steam. They're doing a great job with updates to it. I really love just how many times it's just Hades, but with a skin and an IP that I really enjoy, because I loved Hades as well. The gameplay is top notch, but I truly have a blast with Splintered Fate. And like when I play solo, like I go through the harder modes and like these special portals that they give you for like bonus rewards, and I can never seem to beat the game on that. When I play standard, like the normal mode, I can do fine on that one, but I'm just having a good old time with it. Yeah, I see Nerd Chat in there enjoying it. Yeah, like going through beating Shredder, figuring out the big bad of the game, the Thanos of it, if you will, is a really good time. And as somebody who genuinely loves TMNT, this is the second game that is kind of in that realm of TMNT, but is also really good. Shredder's Revenge being the other one that was really good. And so it's really nice to just have a very high quality game, because it's just, I don't know how to describe it that doesn't get written off as, oh, it's because you like TMNT, but it's really good. It's a great roguelite. Having a blast with it. I feel like I'm eating really well. Like my childhood is eating really well with the new Power Rangers game. They fixed all my problems that I mentioned in my review. They fixed those out the gate. And so like within a week, they'd corrected all of the things that I got hung up on. And so like my childhood games have been just, I've been eating pretty between Splintered Fate with TMNT and then the Power Rangers game. Really having a blast with it. And then I also just want to briefly mention, again, I know it's not on Xbox, but like Arkham Shadow is the game that got me into VR. It got me interested in playing VR and opened up my eyes to a number of different like VR experiences. And to see it get, game awards across multiple websites, not just the Keeleys, was really cool for me, because it's a great Arkham game that happens to be in VR, not a great game in VR. It's more than that. And so I've really enjoyed kind of discovering this new realm of gaming and finding all these new titles in there, the fitness aspect of it. I was lamenting just yesterday, actually, that like I really love being in VR in general, but because I've had a cold, I haven't had anything on my face. So it's just been sitting. And like, I've been putting my time into other stuff, but I'm itching to go back and just play more games that I've got like sitting there waiting for me, because it was a great year for VR in general with Behemoth, the new Alien game, the Arizona Sunshine remakes, of course, Batman. So I've just got so much that's just waiting on my quest for me to play that I'm stoked for. And it just makes me that much happier that like more people are getting access to it. The Meta app was like among the highest, if not the highest, on the App Store for both Google and iPhone last 2 weeks, because people are getting new devices. So like it's just been cool to see gamers getting to find more fun kind of in that realm recently. That's made me happy. So that's what I wanted to say.
I'm glad you found those. I'm glad you found those, because honestly, like, too many people, I feel like we shrug off on like VR games, and VR is such a niche kind of genre in and of itself. Like the ecosystem is still barely like holding on, with Facebook kind of holding the carrying the torch for everyone in VR. Like PlayStation really hasn't done a whole lot, and no other, I can't remember the last time anyone talked about the Vive or whatever it was, HTC's headset. So it really is just like Meta's thing. Apple's getting out of the market because they oversold the promise of what their headset was, and nobody wants to spend that much on those headsets. So it's like having developers out there that want to try and create experiences that that not too many people will be able to experience, but that are really like interesting experiences just at a core level of game design. How many of us were addicted to games like Flappy Bird or Angry Birds growing up? Simple things like that. It's like there's a hook that you can only really like achieve in certain mediums. Mobile games really broke out a whole different way of like playing with games with touch. VR is that for immersive experiences, and games like Assassin's Creed and Behemoth and Batman really do kind of showcase, or Half-Life Alyx even, are games that really showcase like what it's like to be in that world. Playing Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed was a wild experience to be playing in VR. It not something I could really like dive into, but 100% something that I was like, when's the last time when am I ever going to be able to strap on a proton pack and go after ghosts and actually feel that fear of like having to force myself down a corridor that is haunted. I know there's a ghost there, and having to like, I'm just holding I've got the EKG meter, like I've got my proton gun in one hand, and I'm just kind of going down the actual corridor, and I'm like, I just don't want to force myself down here because I know this ghost is going to get me, kind of thing. Like, you can kind of get that with like Spirit Unleashed with in why are you dying? Like it's almost like you've been sick for the last week. This is insane. This is the kind of podcasting that okay. So you're swallowing the wrong way and you're just okay. So anyway, going back to that. So VR is a really awesome experience. I hope more and more people get to actually try out games like Batman. It looks really interesting watching some of the footage that you grabbed of that, because I think that actually showcased it better than any other like trailer that I've seen so far for Batman. And I just, it's one of those moments where it's like, I want to try it, but I know that I'm going to be limited in what I'm able to do just based on like games like Horizon Forbidden, or Wilderness Calls, I think is the PSVR.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, because you have a PSVR 2.
Yeah.
And I remember how excited you were for it. And what always held me back was the being tethered. Like the idea of being tethered. No, thank you. So the Quest was appealing for that reason, that it was untethered. But it stinks because this is yet another device that Sony didn't support past its launch. And it sucks because that game did look really good. And I will say, like, because I know you are one that battles motion sickness, and they're constantly working to fix that for users, right? Because the end game of AR and mixed reality, augmented and mixed reality, is the glasses. That's the end game for devices.
Yeah, Tony Stark.
Right, exactly. And they have to solve that issue. And I was asked recently about, I think it was on Project X Talk, if I run into the motion sickness problems. And the only time I've gotten motion sickness, and maybe queasy here and there, but it was in an older game, Iron Man VR. That was the only one, and that was more of a software thing. And they've developed so many ways and learned so much about users that they've figured out how to help users avoid a lot of that. And I hope that you're able to experience it, like maybe Quest 4 or whatever it is, like the next Quest. I really want you, knowing that you were interested in VR, I want you to be able to experience it again, because the Quest 3 for me has just been eye-opening, and hearing Jam Pack Sam in our community get to discover it has been really cool. I know Todd Oxtra got a Quest 3S, which makes me happy because he got back into VR. He had an early version of a Quest 1, I want to say. And so that is a new place, and like I just feel like that's a new way for people to enjoy video games. And my hope is also that Kev gets it too, because there's some really fun, like Ghostbusters is in there. There's some fun battle royales in there in VR, and like there's nothing quite like pulling a rifle off your back, pop, 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 and then like put it back, pull out the one from your holster, taking down baddies. Like that's a fun thing to do, and I'd really love to do that in co-op.
I very much did that on PSVR 1. It was not as smooth. Now, having used yours for that 5-minute little demo of stuff that you have, which was super cool, and definitely better than PSVR, the original.
Right.
But what you're talking about, that is how I felt playing the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners game on that. You pull out the axe.
Right.
Me in the face. You can pull out the gun holster. Pretty cool. Definitely not as smooth as I'm sure it would be with the more modern technology. But, yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that experience. And it's absolutely better untethered for sure.
Yeah, it totally changed everything. Good.
Oh, Logan, I was going to say, if you're, after finishing the COD campaign and wanting to go back to some of the Resident Evils, but you could Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 4 in VR would be an excellent melding to do that together.
That was one of the things I was looking forward to, because I picked up Village on a good deal, and I was kind of like planning on like, okay, I want to kind of check it out like normally and just kind of play through it, get the story beats, get the normal scares just kind of separated from the actual like VR experiences. And then like once I kind of know like, okay, well, this is what to expect with the story and the gameplay and the different like key moments and stuff, then I wanted to jump in. But I know Phasmophobia has come to like consoles and Xbox and stuff like that, and I know that's been available for VR for a while as well too. I would love to actually get to spend more time in VR. It really is tricky though, because I've noticed even with certain games like Horizon does a really good job of kind of narrowing your peripheral vision to help with a lot of the motion sickness. Even with some of that, it is still hard to do smooth motion where you're just kind of using the thumbstick to move forward or back. For whatever reason, that just I start getting like sweaty and overheated, and my heart rate raises, and I'm just like I feel like I'm on fire. It's really weird how my body reacts to like having that. But I know that there's little wrist straps that you can buy that kind of give you like a little bit of electronic shock to help kind of like keep your attention on that as opposed to what's going on in the VR world. So there's things that you can do to kind of mitigate some of that to kind of help out with that motion sickness. I know Super Pack Player One podcast, he struggles with motion sickness terribly. Has to take like medication for it if he wants to play
He
VR.
takes Dramamine.
Yeah, but I mean, like he's been playing Humanity and Tetris Connected for work through both the PSVR 1 and the PSVR 2 and the Quest. So there's definitely ways around it. It just depends on how much of that experience is going to drive my engagement versus like the how much am I going to have to combat with my physical body not rejecting the experience because it's just not used to it.
I not to belay the point, but you mentioned Phasmophobia. Quick shot. I want to play that game. I own that game. If anybody wants to play that game, I would love a community like game night where we play Phasmophobia because I really want to play that game. But I feel like it's best with groups.
Is it cross-platform?
100%.
Or is it just...
That's a good question. I actually don't know if it's cross-platform or not.
That's a very good
question. I think it was on sale for the holiday sales on PSVR 2. That's the one I own.
I have it on Xbox, and then I think I have it on Quest, but I would get it on Quest as well, just to play with people. But I don't know if it's cross. Like, I don't know how he would talk unless there's an in-game voice for
Discord.
Quest. Yeah, but Quest doesn't have Discord. That's why I was thinking, like, if I played it in VR, it would need an in-game version. But if it's not, if we play the Xbox version or the platform console version, that's easy.
Phasmophobia is all kind of based around like in-game voice chat, just like interacting with the ghosts and stuff as well too. So I'm pretty sure like you could talk to people that way too, because you get little walkie-talkies that you can talk to people in.
Gotcha. Well, in a heartbeat, I would play that game. So, but I do hate that messes with you, Logan. Say that again, Rebbees.
Oh, I was say, this is right up your alley. It's a first-person haunting game to move around in.
It'll be great. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm not I'll watch you guys play it. I am not a scary person.
I'd pay good money to watch Logan do any horror on live stream. I'd pay good money for that.
It's hard. It's a lot of me just not like wanting to move forward. That's the biggest problem. Like I'll watch horror movies. That's fine. But when it comes to horror games, it's like I have to be the one that progresses this. I had a hard time with the Call of Duty campaign. There was some stuff in there where I'm just like, I think it'd be better if you stop doing that right now thing.
So I have a silly question for you that will sound like I'm patronizing, and I promise you I'm not. Because this changed for me. When I was single or lived alone in my apartment, horror was a no-go. Now that my wife's around, I can do horror. I realized that in the last few months. We watched a horror movie 2 nights ago, and I did not know that. I avoided horror for the last decade because prior to that, all of them were negative experiences.
Yeah.
Now I can handle horror just fine. To include horror games to the nth degree. And it's like, oh, huh. Do you think that is the case for you, or do you think that is a possibility, or is it like, no, I'm always against it?
If I had someone like holding my hand the way your wife does, I think I would feel a little bit safer. You know, someone to kind of hold me and wrap me up in a blanket, make me feel safe. I could probably get through that. Yeah.
Kev did that when we were roommates.
Not me.
I really want to text Hillary and have her come up and give you a hug right now.
She probably would.
All right. I know it's a little bit early, but I think we can nail this down that for next year's maybe an extra live stream, we can Logan.
That'd be fun. I would do it for Extra Life. Yeah, I would 100%. Like I'd put myself through some horror stuff if it was for raising money for Extra Life. Yeah.
There we go.
So I feel like we've kind of all talked about our favorite games from this past year, and I spared you guys my talking about Dead by Daylight. You're welcome.
I was waiting.
I know. It definitely was the game I discovered this past year, and I found immense joy. It was my second most played game of the year, which I thought was really cool to discover a game and find that much joy in it. But I am curious, now that we're kind of recapped our favorite games of this year, are there any that were... Oh, do you? Hit me.
There's one more that's very important, and it'll be quick. Well, I guess there's technically two, but one more. To Anubis' point of the best game of 2024 that came out in 2023, it's actually Diablo 4. Full stop. Easy. The glow up that game has gone through and the expansion, so good. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Should the expansion have been Game of the Year contender?
Yes.
That was a very good expansion.
So good. The new class, admittedly a little broken. Kudos to them for just saying, you know what, we're gonna wait till next season to fix it, because it's a lot of fun to play in its very broken state. Some of the mechanics scale multiplicatively that should not scale multiplicatively, so you just end up doing billions of damage in the end game. Awesome. But the combinations and the different builds you could do with the new class, so much fun. Gear also. The reworked gear, the way that they've set it up to scale as you get to your max level, so good. The rework of the leveling system, also very good. Nothing but good stuff to say about the Diablo changes. So, and also not to be understated, I'm the only person here and probably the only person in chat that cares. NCAA football came back, and it was awesome.
You're not the only person that cares. You're probably just the only one in this group that cares. Because Red Beast, you're not a sports ball player either, are you?
I mean, not anymore. I used to play, like growing up in college, and then like my son now and coaching him. He is big into FC24 and Madden, so he now keeps me updated on all the trades each season that goes on. So, yeah.
Nice.
The fact that the Keeleys did not even nominate college football for Sports Game of the Year was an absolute crime.
Did it review well?
Yeah, like 8-ish around the board.
So it did do well. Yeah, wasn't a bad game.
It did well, and
games of the year.
I'll add to the college football thing. I'm not a sports guy either, but in terms of like pushing the industry forward, every GameStop was sold out of Series S's and Series X's in the summer because college football is like the one game that forced people to upgrade. We haven't, there've been plenty of those conversations about how essentially Fortnite makes it so that like, all right, we don't need to push the industry forward onto the new consoles. Everyone's trying to play on old consoles, and college football is like, no, you can't even they didn't even have PC. So it was like, no, you need a new gen console. And everyone was sold out of Xboxes because of that game. And if I'm not mistaken, I think college football sold more than any Madden has ever. So yeah, I mean, I get that the Game Awards are, well, for one, they're rigged and political, but they're also like global. So maybe we can pretend that the non-American reviewers didn't care about it, but no other game has sold out consoles like that. GTA will be the next one to do that, right. But in this generation, no game has sold consoles like that. And so it was, I don't even like sports, but that was a shame that wasn't in there.
I believe I
Yeah.
said something to that effect to you, Luke, before it came out. That
did.
the only two parts of Twitter that I pay attention to are gaming Twitter and college football Twitter.
Mhm.
And there were people all over college football Twitter talking about what should I buy? Should I buy a PS5? Should I buy an Xbox Series to play college football? And I knew it was going to be a system seller. It's great to hear that was actually right.
It is. I was taken aback by how popular it was because I thought it was going to be one of those things, kind of like I don't know if this is a good comparison, but like Mirror's Edge 2 or Alan Wake 2 or whatnot, where everybody asks for it and then it doesn't sell the way that it should, right? And Alan Wake may be a strange example, but like the game still isn't profitable, right? Or just now is. I'm sorry, just now is. And I was worried that would be the case with NCAA because they'd asked for it for so long. But to see that it's now selling consoles or did sell consoles the way that it did, that it moved the industry forward the way it did, is a big win. It is a big win. So I'm humbly and appreciatively standing corrected on that one for sure.
I've seen some of those same people that were talking about which console to buy to play college football later on now talking about like, hey, should I get Call of Duty Black Ops 6? Should I subscribe to Game Pass? Like I've seen some of those same people having further conversations. Like, okay, I've bought this. I've got my college football fix. What else can I do with this thing? And so I think that it may probably a small percentage of people that are somewhat getting back to a hobby they used to enjoy because of college football.
Right. As it should be. That's awesome though. That's just genuinely awesome. I love seeing that. Does anyone else have one? I don't want to move on without.
I was going to give a little bit love. Oh, sorry, Nessa.
No, I said all mine. So, but give love to Palworld. Palworld is a really good game. So that's it.
There you go. All right. I know Logan played Palworld, and so did you, Kev, right?
Yeah. I hit, as I do a lot of times with that survival type game, you hit a progression wall and you just don't feel like grinding it out. That's what happened to me in Palworld. It was a ton of fun to play early on when you're like progressing quickly. But once you hit the part where it gets a little bit grindy, I was kind of like, not really.
I'm at level 50, like 45, 50. I forget what level I'm on. And I'm like, to get higher, to go get the bigger, badder bosses, you have to get level a little bit higher above them. And you just have to grind. And it's so boring. So I wish they would put more stuff in so that you could actually go and have fun. Hopefully.
Red Beast, what were you going to say?
I was just going to get, I didn't play Palworld. I was going to give some love to Metroidvanias. And because I played a few this year and my one chance to, for Butch and Clint to encourage him to play through Hollow Knight. Finally, I did do that this year. And it was good. I think, for me, I also played Tales of Kenzera, and that one's much shorter. I really like the story. I felt like, you can have games where the narrative is in service of the mechanics and the gameplay. And I felt like it was a good blend and told a great story through the end. And especially that very last level as you walk around and kind of like a lot of things are revealed. I just really enjoyed that. But my game of the year was Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And I just thought that was really something special. It's unfortunate that that team has been disbanded because I felt like they even picked some stuff up even from Hollow Knight, being able to, go back and warp to where you were before and then building on those mechanics, like just the ability to take a screenshot of where you've been to help remember versus, having a pad of paper next to you. I just feel like, man, that was just a really good technical leap there and in gameplay and mechanics that, pushing that genre forward. So it's really unfortunate they're gone, but man, that was just a really special game, especially in the beginning of the year. I felt like it got lost with, kind of the slump in January that it just never really recovered. And, I think, were they not on, was it on, they didn't put it on Steam, right? Because I think that was one reason why.
Yeah, that was one of their downfall.
take off.
Nice.
We're talking about Prince of Persia, right?
Prince of
right,
Persia.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had this weird launch there, which stinks because like Kenzera didn't do well, Prince of Persia didn't do well, Hi-Fi Rush didn't do well, and these are all top tier award-winning games that are made by studios that are no longer, or teams that are no longer around in their original form, right? Like a few got revitalized or retooled, but like those smaller games are special, and like those Metroidvanias, there's an audience for that, and it's just not catching. It stinks.
Yeah, I agree.
That stinks.
Can I highlight another game? Sorry.
You can. This is our episode. Go for it.
Little Kitty Big City. It is a very fun,
A good one.
like, kind of, it's a very, it is a cozy game, but it's very fun, and you get to run around and be a cat.
I feel like Kevin Ainsworth. Yeah, I knew a lot of people were going to be into this one. Go for it.
Oh, I watched my daughter play through it, and just sitting down watching her learn the mechanics, and just seeing the smile, and she captured all my other kids that come over and watch, and like we were kind of watching together, and it's hilarious. Like you can tell where they had a lot of inspiration of probably around the office of different cats. I just thought that was it was great. And it's it doesn't overstay its welcome. It keeps moving, and it is great.
I watched Neil Newborn who played Asterion play it online one time. He hasn't finished the game, but he's like, just seeing him glee every time his cat has a new hat and everything. It is funny.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that I'll jump in and say that Little Kitty Big City was definitely on my like wanting to play list, and I had a really good time when they put out the demo. I enjoyed my time that I put in when it first came out before I had to switch over to other stuff, and it is definitely one of those games where they had a pure vision of what they wanted. They achieved that vision, and will probably become one of those games like Katamari Damacy, where people think back fondly on it that did play it, and it'll become like one of those like games that it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that game. That was a really, really fun game. I'd love to go back and play some more of that and stuff. Kind of one of those just chill games that has like little fetch quests, and you go and collect things, and you do little quests as you run around the different towns and pick up different little outfits for your kitty, in hopes of him finally getting back to his home in his little apartment.
There is a big market, I think, for cat games. I see Todd Oxford talking about Stray being a fun game with a cat, a little less cozy. Cat Quest 3. I mentioned Kevin Ainsworth. Like, I know he's big into those as well. I know Ellery Woods Parker III was big into those. I feel like there's just this exploding market of cat games that I'm just on the outside looking in, but it's kind of like Red Beast watching his daughter. It's cool to see everybody enjoying them,
You need
Luke.
Nintendogs too, is what you need.
Luke, you need to play Little Kitty Big City. It is a quick, easy game that probably takes about like 5 to 6 hours. It's really fun.
Are there Power Rangers or turtles with swords in it? I'm just asking.
No, but it's platformy-ish.
Yes, there is.
And
There's full of turtles. Under every sewer cover, there is a Ninja Turtle like giving him a piece of pizza to eat. Around every like cityscape, there's a Megazord that walks by. It's right up your alley.
You can microtransaction the skin. You can microtransaction the skin to be a Ninja Turtle.
I'm in. Sounds like my kind of game, guys. It sounds like my kind of game. Done.
And it's great. It's on Steam, and you can play it on your Steam Deck. And it's like a fun, easy game. I mean, you're always wanting games for the Steam Deck.
I am. I'm obsessed with this thing. It's crazy.
Handhelds are the future.
They really are. VR and handhelds are the future. They really are. It's been very interesting to be. I'm gonna wax poetic briefly, so you activated me. Sorry. With XEP, Logan and I get a lot of cool opportunities, right? Like we get access to things, controllers, headsets, that kind of thing. But the chance to check out some of this tech sometimes just opens up my mind to, I guess, just different things that I never would have done before, right? To include the Steam Deck. And very interested in the ROG Ally and what they've got coming at CES and such. Like, it's really neat to see. And I hope that in a world where I can pick up a Steam Deck and play Elden Ring, that opens up, I think, a lot of possibilities for people to access games where they weren't going to before. And I say the same thing about VR, like new ways to play and experience games where they wouldn't have before. Because I think so, as much as I love my console space, it just looks like that's fading in real time.
It's not fading, Luke. You're just broadening your horizon.
I think it's fading. There's a reason the console market isn't expanding.
There is always going to be that subset of gamer, i.e. me, that when I play a game and I'm serious about playing that game, I want to be on a big screen TV in my couch. That's it. Like, if I'm going to play Call of Duty, if I'm going to play any of these games I enjoy, I'm going to sit on my couch. I'm going to be on the big screen TV. Like, period. My enjoyment of Helldivers was lessened because I bought it on PC and I played it up here at this very desk instead of on my comfy couch with the controller and my feet kicked up. I'm just not with the handheld revolution. When I want to play a handheld game, I want it to be fast. I want it to be Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I want it to be quick, get me in and out, and move on. Like Joe, our friend Joe, is playing The Witcher on his Steam Deck, like at work and whatnot. And I'm like, that's insane to me. A game like that.
I played Flintlock on my ROG Ally, and I was just gonna say, I was thinking about this because I thought I was praying that I make it today. But if I had my ROG Ally pre-COVID, because I was doing a lot more outreach, and I just would have had my phone. Well, my phone's right here, and I had my phone, and I had a jetpack. I would probably have played more games pre-COVID than I did once I got my Xbox and other things, because I'm always on the go, and I'm probably gonna be more on the go once I add more people to my outreach clientele. But
that's part of it too.
But there have been times when I was like I live in Massachusetts, and there would be a day where I was in one town, and like if I had a cancellation, I'd be sitting in McDonald's just basically, oh, I went through Disney Magic Kingdoms. Oh, I went through Township. What do I do now? I've watched all my TV shows.
I think that's a difference too in somebody who's on the go a lot. Like, I'm not on the go a lot. I'm not a big traveler. I'm not going a lot of places. And if I was, I'd probably appreciate the mobile more. But I think that I would still look for quick hitting games. Simple, like TMNT Splintered Fate is probably something I'd play mobile if I was traveling a lot. But I think there's always going to be that subset of people that wants to be on the couch at home. And I think mobile is going to be a big part of the next evolution of gaming and where we go next. But I don't think it's going to be the end all be all. And I don't think you should really approach it that way either.
Well, like it could be like the Switch. You bring your handheld with you, and you can still have a console situation. Like I put my Switch on, and I played Zelda on my TV. But sometimes I wish I would just take it out of the thing, but it's kind of like hard because I have a lot of stuff around it. But bring it with me, play it at work, or play it on the go and just deal with there. Then I could probably finish it a lot faster than if I was at home.
I think the docked element is going to be what happens eventually, right? Like you can dock a number of the portable devices, and I think that's the way to do it going forward.
I know. I know Jose from Nerd Chat was talking about how he got a dock for his Ally for Christmas and everything. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. I was just going to move us into our last thing before we exit here. I was going to ask everybody to drop kind of one game for next year that they're really looking forward to most, and what they want to see from it. and I was wondering if we could just kind of go around the horn on that one. And Nissa, since you were talking, what's the one you're looking forward to most for next year?
I have to pick one.
Just one. There's no possible way to say more than one once it's your turn. Of course you can.
Tales of the Shire, Winterboro, Avowed, South of Midnight, Adamfall.
Good list. Good list. I like it. Nice. Red Beast, what are you looking forward to?
I think South of Midnight is the one that I'm looking for, and then the Ghosts of is it Yotai?
Yotai. Yeah.
So I think those two are the ones that I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Cool deal. Kevo?
There's so many very interesting games to choose from. I saw some stuff online today saying that Fable is confirmed with a 2025 window, so we're going that. Because I loved Fables 1, 2, and 3, despite the fact that Peter Molyneux promised the world and gave you like 70% of it. I'm very hopeful. I don't think it's going to live up to every expectation they set for it. So just to be realistic, but if it hits 85-90% of what it looks like and what it sounds like it's going to be, could be awesome. And yeah, definitely.
Nice. Fable. I had forgotten that you love that game. That makes me happy to hear. Nice. Anubis, what are you looking forward to?
I know I'm forgetting something because recently I was like, oh, that might be my favorite game next year, but I can't think of what that is. South of Midnight is definitely the one that has had my attention for a long time. That will undoubtedly be in my top 5. In 2025, though, that is the year that I finally play Control, the remake of Alan Wake 1 and then Alan Wake 2. So possibly Alan Wake 2 will be up there. I don't Control and the first Alan Wake are not going to be up there for me. I know that, but they'll be enjoyable. And then we'll see how Alan Wake 2 does for me because I hear really good things about that. If Fable does make it, then Fable absolutely is up there as well. I am a very big fan of the Fable series. I started with Fable 2, and that's definitely the best Fable, unquestionably. But all the Fables are really good, and so I'm kind of skeptical if that makes it in. And I don't care at all about Grand Theft Auto. Like I'll get it because of the zeitgeist, and I'll want to play the story. I barely, other than the campaign, I barely touched GTA 5, and that's probably what I would expect for GTA 6 is I'll do the campaign and that's it.
I don't think GTA 6 has any shot of making it next year.
Well, I hope it doesn't come this year so that we can get Fable, because I want GTA to move out of the way of Fable. Oh, that's what it was. Because sorry. But that cued my brain because it was at the Game Awards, and I made the joke that GTA needs to get out of the way of Split Fiction. That's the other game. That's my game of the year for 25. Absolutely, anything Hazelight does, I am all on in. Give me a collector's edition for once. I will throw all the money. But yeah, so those are my top 3. I'll say my top 3: Fable, South of Midnight, and Split Fiction.
Okay, cool deal. I'm glad you remembered your game too, because that would have driven you nuts if you had thought about that after the show. So that's cool. Let's see. Let's give Silkenet in chat. He says Citizen Sleeper 2 is his most anticipated one. Fun speculation. Shout out to Mav. Says that Fable hands down is his most anticipated, and to go back because he's playing catch up. His game of the year is Indiana Jones, followed by Stalker 2 and Dragon's Dogma 2, and his surprise love of the year was Aura. Is Aura History Untold? Is that that one? And then what's the other one? Age of Mythology?
Age of Mythology?
Mythology.
I don't know.
Aura and Age of Mythology, because of their release timing and similar art covers, just kind of run together for me. So, Logan, what are you looking forward to most, my friend?
There's a lot that I'm looking forward to, but hands down, it's going to have to be Ghost of Yotai. That is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima is my top most anticipated at this moment, because that like Ghost of Tsushima is one of my highest rated games when it comes to like games that I've ever played. It was exceptional, and if Sucker Punch can pull it off twice, I hope they do, because I can't wait to jump back into that style of game, that type of world. It's the game that truly got stealth mechanics to click for me, like invading a camp and taking people out and doing assassinations. That game did it for me, and the story is just amazing. It was really well told. The atmosphere is fantastic. So Ghost of Yotai's out there, but you know, I'll happily throw out games like Split Fiction, Fable, South of Midnight. I'm trying to think of what else there is. There's a bunch of stuff. Avowed, definitely.
I was gonna say, is Avowed on your list?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Avowed. Want to try out Obsidian's version of Skyrim and see what they come up with. So there's a lot that's coming out. We don't know what Nintendo has on their docket, but given the cadence of like development that they've done, I would not be surprised if a Mario Kart 9 or a Super Mario Brothers game comes out with the Switch 2, if that actually does release next year. So whatever Nintendo's got cooking that they're holding on to, that's kind of, I would love to jump into one of those.
They think of Metroid. They think of Jeff Grubb mentioned this the other day. They think of Mario Kart Mobile as Mario Kart 9, and they're calling it internally Mario Kart 10. The next one. Isn't that weird?
I can see that. Well, I mean, the amount of support that Mario Kart Online through the mobile app got was way better than what Mario Kart 8 for the Switch got. So like I don't blame them, because they put a lot of like work and effort into that Mario Kart. The fact that stuff is finally coming from the Mario Kart app over to the booster packs that they've done for Mario Kart 8, I wouldn't blame them for just skipping it and calling it Mario Kart 10. But they honestly just need to call it Mario Kart, have it as a live service, and let you like buy the tracks and characters and start bringing more Nintendo IP into the fold, like Metroid. I'm trying to think of like some other ones that they haven't done, but they need to.
Do you think they'll just take the 8 and they'll just have it slowly tilt to the side to make an infinity sign?
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That's the play. Mario Kart Infinity. That's it.
Love it.
Logan, it sounds like you want Speedstorm, basically.
Speedstorm does scratch some of that itch as far as like them bringing in a bunch of IPs and stuff. I think they did a good job with that. There's something about Mario Kart's, just like their driving, it just feels right in there. But I think Nintendo will always be behind the 8 ball when it comes to online support. So I'm trepidatious about them coming out with another Mario Kart until they've worked out like true proper online, like drop-in kind of multiplayer and stuff, like having to create rooms and get people in there and waiting for your Miis to show up around the world and stuff. It's so tedious that it just drags me down every time. It's like, all right, well, you know, if you want to change your cart, you have to back all the way out and recreate the room, and friend codes are weird. Nintendo needs to figure that all out and just make it far more easier, given the nature of what their consoles are all about and stuff. So I don't know.
Let's see. I'm gonna think about mine. Doom: The Dark Ages is probably top of my list, just because it's among those franchises that I hold so dear, and I know it's a confirmed release. Without a doubt, South of Midnight and Avowed are on my list, but they're more like I'm interested as opposed to I'm hyped. I think I'm only hyped about Doom right now, and the others I'm just interested in. But that would change in a heartbeat if we, saw something in the Spider-Man or Batman world, or if we got information on the Wonder Woman game, which who knows if that's real. I do know that the TMNT Rise of Ronin game is progressing. There's your leak. I don't leak a lot of stuff because I don't know much. That's a real thing. The Rise of Ronin game is doing well despite what was going on at Black Forest, when Embracer broke them down. So I don't think it's this year, but I do think you're going to see something this year. So that's kind of cool. There's your one leak from Luke Lohr, not a leaker by nature. There you go. But I'm excited for Rise of Ronin whenever that shows up. But I'm a superhero guy, a Halo Gears guy, and I just got Power Rangers, and they fixed it so quickly that it's like I know there's DLC coming for that. I really would love to see some more in the superhero realm because like Spider-Man 2 is coming to PC soon. I would have loved to see DLC for that, but it just looks like that's not happening. I don't know what's going on with Wolverine.
They are going to be, I do know, I have insider knowledge that they're going to be remastering Superman 64. I wasn't going to tell you this on air, but you can look forward to that at least.
I'm ready.
Hey, Luke, are you excited since you're a horror fan? Are you listening? The guys who did the Silent 2 remake, was it like Blueberg or something like that? Yeah. They have a game coming out this year. Are you kind of anticipating that game? Because it looks like kind of horror-ish.
I am not, but I would be interested. I think Bloober Team gets a bad rap sometimes, and I really do like Bloober Team. So I would be interested in that for sure, actually. I will look into that. Thank you. That's a good call. I like Bloober. I like their Blair Witch project. It was Silent Hill 2 that they did, and that looks great. Like I'm anxious for that when it gets to PC, which I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm absolutely good call out, Nissa. I will check that one out. So yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to be it for us. Thank you for joining us on the community episode, by the way. Wrap up our year, talk about our year. Thank you guys for being patrons and supporting XEP. I'd love for you guys to shout out your socials and then let people know where they can find whatever it is that you want to say more on those socials. Anubis, start me off, bud.
You can find me Anubis316 on Twitter. Is pretty much the most social I do. I have an Instagram, but I'm like never on it. I technically have a TikTok, but yeah. So Twitter, Anubis316.
There you go. Sounds good to me. Kevo?
You can find me on Twitter at I Need a Hero, spelled just like it is here on my name, H3RO, or on Blue Sky at hero1.bluesky.social. And you never know, maybe you'll find me at twitch.tv/hometownhero one day. Who knows? 2025
is the year that Kev gets famous and I mooch off of him. That's the plan. That's the plan. Red Beast, where can people find you, my friend?
Nah, I just wanted to take this chance to highlight the XEP Discord and really when I found you and you were on, play P1P, talking off of that podcast and the interviews that you do, I just think are phenomenal, like the research that you do and talking, with the developers and, everyone. I enjoy that. And then also even that patron channel that we have, the different channels that are, the different YouTube channels that I found that way are great. And so I just really want to highlight that, just what a good community that exists over in that Discord. So yeah, that's what I want to highlight for my time here.
Thanks, Red Beast. That means a lot, man. I'll fully agree, man. That Discord is a source of positivity in my day, for sure. For sure.
And we practically had to bully him into creating it.
It's true. He and Logan and a few others, they did. They really did. I was so scared no one would show up. That was the real
We're still trying to figure out.
It would be so good. Like, just do it, man. You've got a great community. Get the Discord going. And it took him so long to finally commit, and look how it's done. Look.
One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to convince him to actually convert it to a community Discord, so there could be like actual announcement channels, so that if anyone has like their own Discord and they just want to get notified when people get like cool stuff posted, then it'll get sent out to their Discords as well.
I thought we tried.
I'm working. No,
I swear we tried that. Did we? Okay. All right.
No, we didn't.
I've
been bugging you about it. We're working on it. We're growing and learning. But
I know what it was. You went on vacation right when you were like, "I'm going to help you with it," because I remember I tried to set up an announcement thing, but it wouldn't work. And I remember that.
See, this was all a ploy to get you to move forward with your Discord, progression. All
Thank you, Russ. The check is in the mail, by the way.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Here we are. Yeah. I say the Patreon shout out. channel, or like the little channel we have on there, is the best because that can just go in and find links to all of our communities, just what they're making, what they're putting out. If Todd Oxer's doing an episode, if Jam Pack Sam put up a video, if David Burdett put up something, I love when that stuff shows up there.
Yeah,
Makes me. Nissa, where can people find you?
In the XEP Discord. We're on Discord. Due to being a therapist, I don't share out my my socials unless I'm in a written platform. No offense to anybody. It's just shy.
No worries. No worries. Anubis, you had asked if I am doing more interviews. Yes, I have Digital Eclipse coming up for Power Rangers. They just wanted to get the update out. They were gonna be on the show in December. They wanted to get the update out because they did get so much negative feedback upon release. They were like, okay, we can fix this, this, and this, and so they crammed and did all that. But I will be absolutely doing more. I have had one in the works. And this person's extremely famous and just keeps delaying because he's doing like conferences and stuff. And it's like, excuse me, sir, do you know who I am?
Are you allowed to say it's a he?
This person who is a legendary game designer and maybe design stuff.
Way further.
What's that?
That's going even way deeper into what I was thinking. I thought you were going to just keep it like kind of hush hush for a very long time. I've been waiting for this.
Well, I've been teasing this like mystery guest for so long, and like it's now people are gonna think it's like, I don't know, gaming Jesus.
That's how these things happen, though. For folks that don't know, for us as podcasters to try and rope in some of these big name peoples,
it's true.
The scheduling and work with like the PR managers of folks like this, it is like a year's worth of like just poking. Are they ready yet? Are they ready yet? Are they ready yet? And it once in a while you get someone, they're like, okay, they can meet you on this day at this time if you're available. And you're like, I'll disown my family if I need to get this interview in, because I have no clue when this person's going to have availability again. What are kids? I don't know. They're the people that are out on the doorstep wondering how come they're not being taken to Wendy's to get a Frosty right now. I have an interview that I have to do. That is what it is like.
He's 100. He's not joking, by the way. It really is like that. It took a year to get Seamus Blackley on the show, and now like I can email him anytime, and like followed me on Blue Sky out of the blue. Like it is absolutely how that works. Sometimes you just poke. And I remember distinctly there was a big name, like bigger than anybody I've had on the show thus far, which is not a small list, and they wanted to come on, but I would have had to miss my students' EOGs. Like I would have had to like have a sub on that day, and I said no to it. And just because, right? Like I couldn't leave them on their last like final testing day. But that is absolutely like that does happen. It's just how it is. So that's funny.
Sounds worse than trying to get new clients to show up.
Yeah, probably that. Coffee Chick, one day I'll be marketing manager of the XEP Discord. Girl, you can do that today. There is no pay, but I can send you game codes and hardware from time to time.
I was gonna say, as long as you work for free.
Yeah. Kev is actually my social media.
Kev, you don't work
manager.
for free. Don't even pretend like you haven't gotten like Call of Duty points.
That's true.
All right, I can't pretend that I haven't gotten Call of Duty points for all of my limited graphic design work.
That's true.
So if you two want Call of Duty points, Luke has job openings.
Yeah.
The good news is that Call of Duty points don't show up on your tax return, so you know.
That's true.
I'll work for Moonstones.
Luke could probably get interviews with the devs.
Probably could do that. Yeah.
Dreamlight Valley devs?
$600.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Yes.
Game off.
You probably could. It would not be too difficult. You could. You just have to find out who the PR team is and reach out. You could probably get it in.
Yeah, give me some time. I can make that happen. Some stuff does take time. That is one of the consistent things, but it does take time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can work on that, Nissa. I don't mind doing that. Too easy. All right, Logan, where can people find you, my friend, and what's going on with Keelhauled?
Well, I've been on vacation, so nothing has really been going on in Keelhauled. I've actually been playing a lot of the game because it's been like completely like Festival of Giving. So they've been giving away free voyages and gildeds and all this stuff. So I've been earning like 1 million gold just about any night that I hop on for a couple hours. So that's been great. The servers have been feeling better. They've been doubling their efforts to try and like address a lot of the community concerns, which is like, hey, we just want a stable game. Like we don't need bells and whistles. We just want to be able to like log on and feel confident that like, you know, things will work. So that's the redoubled effort over in Sea of Thieves land, which is great. But outside of that, in Keelhauled, XEP, man, jumping back into the train, real life stuff is going to kind of overwhelm me probably in the first week back when I get home this week. But once I kind of get things kicked up with that and have like a little bit more stability on what's going on in real life stuff, I'm going to be jumping back into my reviews for the headset and the pivot controller that I'm working on right now. So looking forward to getting back home and typing those up. So I've got the B-roll squared away. Like I'm pretty sure that all I need to do is just type up my thoughts on those on the headset and the controller. Teaser, people are really going to want to consider these for devices. Much like my experience with the Stealth Beach Ultra controller. I think they're really good hardware. I think Turtle Beach is making some really good content or good hardware out there right now. Same thing with Logitech. Like they're just making really, really good stuff. So I can't wait to share my full thoughts and concerns about those for folks that are interested in some of the hardware reviews that we've been doing. Luke's been doing a killer job on working on the Steam Deck and the MetaQuest. I've got my Logitech G Cloud that I've been using almost, you know, like it's 50-50 right now as far as like the time spent playing Indiana Jones or checking Discord or watching YouTube on my G Cloud outside of just playing on console for my vacation. So I'm hoping to see if I can capture some B-roll on that and then start typing up some reviews for what I think of the G Cloud. And if streaming is as viable as we want it to be when it comes to having multiple ecosystems. So like I have a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and my PC. Does it all work? That's going to be the big thing that I want to share with folks when I get a chance to kind of like lock down that review as well too.
There you go, man. I'm looking forward to seeing your reviews on these too, because
Yeah.
especially with everything that Logitech is making and everything that's happening at CES and whatnot, like seeing the tech world and the gaming world merge, I guess not merge. That's a stupid way to say that. What am I trying to say? Just the idea, like stuff they have coming in the gaming sphere. I'm excited for that. So yeah.
Same.
I will. He mentioned the Steam Deck. I am about ready to kind of finalize my thoughts on it, and so I'm setting up the doc. I've been handwriting, like I've been handwriting my review for the Steam Deck because I just find it more at a better pace. But I'm about ready to film that, hoping to do that this week. If not this week, then next week for sure. But I've really had a good month roughly with this thing that I've been putting in a lot of time across a number of games. So anxious to talk about that one for sure. So
nice.
In my final closing thoughts, guys, I just want to thank everybody for supporting XEP, whether you watch every week, whether you watch sometimes, if you've clicked like, if you've clicked share, if you've ever been willing to take the plunge and drop a super chat or go to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass and support us and become members like the people that were on the channel today. We really appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with us through a fantastic year, and we hope you have a fantastic 2025. That's going to be it from us. Take care, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy